Welcome everyone to the Howl Podcast, where we feature guests from various backgrounds with captivating stories to tell. And our goal in this podcast is to bring people together by sharing diverse perspectives and experiences to inspire positive change in the world. And I'm your host today, Juan Raimundo Ramos, and I'm super excited about this podcast in particular because we're going to be talking about topics that I'm not really too familiar of, but always been very interested. So we're going to be covering topics about artificial intelligence, content creation, and so on. And our guest today is Eric Milzarski, aka Eric the Mage, a filmmaker, content creator who makes YouTube videos on comic books, nerd stuff, and is occasionally funny, sometimes when he isn't trying to be. And we're excited to hear more about his journey and his insights into the world of content creation in this very own age of artificial intelligence. So without further ado, please welcome Eric Milzarski, aka Eric the Mage. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. How are you guys doing today? Let's
do this. Love that shirt, by the way. Straw Hat Crew.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite sweaters of all time.
I love that.
It's warm as hell too.
Yeah.
You know.
There's gonna be a hurricane very soon, I think in a couple hours, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh yeah, let's do this. Hurricane Hillary.
Yes, Hurricane Hillary. Yeah, and I heard that, I guess just seeing in the stories, and some people were already like having neighborhoods and like flooding and stuff like that, and they were just like swimming. Yes. Like, oh my goodness, like this is real.
Yeah, but like I've been seeing like all the stuff where like, yeah, it's a mix of like, you know, all the like we're starting to get like some of the like heavier rain here in Los Angeles, and it's like it's gonna get bad, people. Like this isn't just, you know, a regular January storm. Like this is an actual hurricane, guys. Like there's already videos of like people down in like Baja, Mexico, where it's like just flooded out already, and it's like, you guys, we should have prepared. Like.
Yeah, that's insane. But I'm super happy that we were able to make this happen. And thank you so much for being here, Eric. And
thank you.
Yes, I would love for our viewers and listeners to know more about who you are. So just introduce yourself and maybe a little bit about your background as well.
Of course. My name is Eric Milzarski, aka Eric the Mage. So I'm a YouTuber. I talk about comic books, nerd stuff, all that fun jazz. And like I like to break down like I like to talk about comic books, but then I like to break down like different aspects and different tropes of it all. So say like the most hated comic book trope of all time, where like you have like the superhero love interest always gets upset and like, oh, why did you lie to me? And it's like, well, it's not as bad as people think it is. Like people just want to like get upset on the internet because, you know, a female character had emotions. Like, I mean, if that, like, you got to think about it this way. Like, as a character, that person is dating the superhero, and sure, like, they have a reason to lie and like keep the secret identity and all of that. But like, are you really going to fault them for like, you know, having emotions? Like, that's kind of a dick move.
Absolutely. And I guess, how did you discover your passion in creating content? Because everyone has a different story, right? And it looks like you already have a niche that you're trying to go into, like comic books.
Yeah, like I've always loved comic books. Like ever since I was a little kid, like it was always my go-to pastime. Like I would always like, I felt more like I love reading. Like I love reading like actual novels as well. Don't get me wrong. But even as a kid, I always gravitated like, oh, that's cool. I love reading like actual like stories like that, actual novels. But seeing the cool drawings like kind of helps. Especially when it's, you know, a dude in a cape beating up a bad guy. Like that just drew my attention more.
Absolutely. And I always loved comic stuff when I was a kid too. And especially like recently, like, you know, watching superhero movies here and there. But talk a little bit about your filmmaking too, because I heard that you're also a director.
Yes.
And you went to film school as well.
I did. I went to the New York Film Academy back in the day. That was fun. It was great. I gave it my all, and then came to the rough realities that this world is a lot rougher. This industry is a lot rougher to break into than I thought it would be.
Absolutely.
So here we all are. Still writing, still creating, still hoping to get my foot in the door. I've had it in there a few times. I've done a lot of gig work. Used to work at G4 TV. That was awesome while it lasted. Rest in peace. F's in chat.
F's in chat. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously in the industry that's so like, it's unexpected what's going to happen like in the future or in the present, because, projects come here and there. And also in this time where the strikes are happening, like the actor strike and also the writer strike is going on. There's so many different uncertainties that are happening in the industry for sure. But I wanted to ask, what inspired you to, I guess, transition more into YouTube now, because coming from a filmmaking background, I guess some people do it. Some people start off with film and then maybe they're taking that skills and they're like, oh, maybe I can use all those skills and make a YouTube channel out of it, because I guess starting a YouTube channel is very, I always say this, it's hard starting out, right? So I guess what inspired you to transition into that field?
Yeah, you've always, everybody always gets told this, you just need to create something, even if, the first, 100 things you create are going to be, god awful, your 101st is going to be better. Eventually, your 101st may suck, but your 102nd might finally do good. And,
Absolutely.
it's all about not really... It's taking it on the chin and learning from your mistakes. When you jump into YouTube, nobody's videos, very first time is going to be successful. Yeah, sure, you'll see YouTube channels with they're very they only have 5 videos on there and they're already starting to blow up. But those usually aren't individual creators. Those are corporations with all this backing, and it's not really their first video. But look at Mr. Beast, for instance. The dude started off making Call of Duty videos and it was ass. And then eventually, that weird little dude from North Carolina became Mr. Beast. So hey, it's all about consistency. It's all about making one video. If it sucks, whatever. What can you improve on the next one? Oh, this one finally did good. Okay, why did it do good? Look at what about it was good. Was it the title? Was it the thumbnail? Was your presentation a lot better? Was your editing style getting a lot better? It's trying to find that one little thing and saying I'm going to improve on this. Oh, my audio quality. My last video, my audio was kind of crap. I'm going to try to figure out some audio editing techniques for the next one.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, there's so many YouTubers that start off from scratch, from 0 subscribers, and no one knows about them. But for those ones, for example, you mentioned Mr. Beast that, got so much recognition because of so many videos. I think I agree with you when you say that they do start from somewhere, but they constantly, create and evolve and continue to improve, right, in their journey, in their craft. So, maybe your 100th video might not be where you want it to be, but the 101st video might be, much better, and then people will recognize it. I think it's also, I hate to say it, but maybe sometimes luck is also part of it. Maybe someone sees it and they're like, oh, maybe I should share this, and then they share it, and then it's a domino effect, and then basically that video becomes viral, right? It basically starts somewhere.
There is a little bit of a luck to it, but then again, it is also the algorithm, and it is also maybe it's luck on the points of what you did was luck. I'm sorry, it's what you did was lucky, as opposed to finding some randomly this video about superhero suits should be colorful just randomly blew up. No, it's in my opinion, there's no such thing as the algorithm. It's just everyone always puts all the emphasis on oh, the algorithm didn't want to push my stuff. Oh, the algorithm is hiding my stuff. No, if you look at the videos, you're always going to see the impressions, and if your impressions and click-through rate are crap, well, Like you're not getting anything from that. And that's not like the algorithm doing anything. That's people like viewing and saying like, I'm gonna scroll to another video. Like they'll see like all like people are gonna see it. So, like that's what each individual impression is. And if they're not, like, maybe your topic is boring. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe your topic is like super exciting. Like that's the thing that everyone's talking about because like there was a new episode of like Superman or whatever that everyone wanted to see, and it's like. That's why it got traction. Like there's luck, but it's more about what you are doing lucky as opposed to like the algorithm being lucky and just randomly deciding like, oh, I'm just going to shine my light on this one video from this one creator. Like that doesn't happen that way. Yeah. And if it does, like I'd like for that to happen. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so.
Haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'd love to touch base with that topic too, because, you know, I think a lot of success also comes from recurring viewers, the viewers that are constantly, you know, are invested in the content being created by this creator, right? So, you know, by the time they watch that video, they're like super interested and invested in it. And then the next video, they're like, oh, this is also pretty good. And it's a domino effect, like I said. And I also think that, you know, quality videos make your channel the way it is. Like Mr. Beast, amazing channel among many others too. And I also realized that there's a lot of content creators out there that do well in certain times, and then there are times when they're like forced to create content or something like that, and then you know, from time to time they kind of drop off, right? So it's not always about rising or like being steady. Sometimes it's like fluctuating, right? Like as far as like viewership, as far as subscriptions. I do have a friend in mind. His name is B Money Rules, who did like a bunch of content creation for like mashup trailers, etc. So very, very awesome and unique, right? But you know, at some point in his life, he kind of stopped because of, you know, his life and his job, etc. And it's also about consistency for me, because as soon as you stop, and then, you know, the algorithm or whatever the case may be will see it and say, oh, you're not making videos anymore. And then they're like, okay, maybe this video is not gonna get as many views as it used to be. So how do you see the value of, I guess, consistency in the sense of like, you know, creating content?
Yeah, like you have to, like, if enough people like watch your stuff, of course it's gonna start getting fire. But then like if you make like, say, a 20 or like a 2-hour Minecraft tutorial that like nobody wants to watch, like of course eventually YouTube's gonna be like, okay, this guy's not taking it seriously, and they'll just kind of push it down below. Or if it's like, well, then again, like you also see like YouTubers like ContraPoints, like she can make a video like once every 2 months and it's always gonna reach like 10 million viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you share some insights into your, I guess, your creative process in making these comic book videos when it comes to like planning and producing content, right? Like how do they come about, and like how do you go about it?
Yeah. So I always like look at like what's going on with like the comic book world, or like the comic book movie world, or like just the comic book or superhero pop culture. Let me say. Yeah, just look at everything with like the superhero pop cultural world. And like if I see like, you know, they just released like the new image of like the new Wolverine costume, and it's like, oh cool, everybody's talking about that. Like here's my thoughts on that. Like with the new episode of a few weeks ago with the newest episode of like My Adventures with Superman, like everyone was talking about, you know, that superhero trope. Like, well, here's my thoughts on it, guys. Maybe the world's not on fire. Like everyone on Twitter is losing their shit, and it's like, maybe we don't have to do this every single time. I don't know. And then, yeah, I come up with the idea, I write it out, I film it, I edit it all myself, and try to submit, like, upload it every single Sunday. Missed the last 2 weeks because of COVID, but hey, we're back at it again, guys.
Back at it again for sure. And I really value, I guess, consistency too, because you just got to keep creating. You can't stop, because as soon as, whatever machine or like anything finds out that you stopped, then it goes down from there, and you have to work harder, I guess, to get back up. But speaking of that, go ahead.
It is a double-edged sword. Like it's, you are going to have to go uphill like every time like you miss a deadline. Yeah. But at the same time, don't let it affect your mental health. Like if you need to take a break, guys, take a break. Like if you're burnt out, like you're going to create an ass video and nobody wants to see ass. Like
absolutely. But
it's better to have no video that week than like an absolute garbage fire that like is going to ruin your channel. So take a week off if you need a week off.
Yeah.
It's not that serious, guys.
Yeah. And people see that too, because quality is also, power for me. Like whenever I see something like, okay, this guy is also, creating content here and there, but the next video is like, what is this? I don't know why I'm watching it. And then it could affect you, in a negative way. And you mentioned about mental health too. Yes, it is important for people to constantly check on themselves about that and make sure that, because it does help with their creativity too. Like if your mental health is like super solid, then your content creation is going to be, really good, and vice versa. So I also wanted to touch base with your, I guess, talking about that topic of fluctuation and stuff like that, because from what I heard, you did just start with YouTube, right? Like a few months ago, or when did you start?
I started back in April. I have my 547 beloved, beautiful, and amazing subscribers. I love each and every single one of you 547 weirdos. But yeah, I started back in April and still not monetized yet, of course. Still waiting to get that, still trying to get that 1,000 viewers, 4,000 watch hours. And then I can start getting AdSense to start getting just pennies rolling in. But it's as soon as I get that, to me, it's not about the monetization yet. I mean, it'll be amazing. But even right now, it's all just a hobby. I'm doing all this for my, I'm spending hours every week creating videos for fun.
Because you love doing it.
If you're not having fun doing it, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to get the monetization immediately, because it's going to take all of this hard work. I have to write it, I have to create it, I have to edit it, I have to perform in it, I have to, try to do my own social media for it all. And if you're not loving it, why are you even bothering? Because it's that hard road to reach the monetization. And it's even longer road for as soon as you make that 1,000, now you're monetized. You're in the YouTube partnership program. That's amazing. Congratulations. How long is it going to be until your AdSense can even match a minimum wage job? Absolutely. How long is it going to be until you can get sponsorship deals? Usually they won't look at you until you're 10,000 subscribers, where you can get maybe $200 for an ad read, where you talk about Raid Shadow Legends or whatever. Bleep that out, so
for sure.
They're not paying me to talk about Raid Shadow Legends.
Eventually they will.
Just eventually. Hey, please sponsor me, Raid Shadow Legends.
Yes. But I did have a episode with Ada Nicole Sanger, and she said something along the lines of, if you don't have passion for whatever you're doing, it's going to show later on, and it'll affect you. So maybe you'll be successful early on, just because of hard work, determination, and consistency. But if you don't love what you're doing, it's going to show later on, bits and pieces here and there. But I did want to also touch base on, because a lot of people create YouTube channels, right? And then they still, some of them create a lot of content. Some of them do many different things that, make their videos interesting. But some of them never make it, right? Some of them never even make 5 or 10 subscribers from scratch. And it seems like you, as you started from scratch, it it feels like there's a niche for the stuff that you're doing, which is why you're getting a little bit of traction on your videos. So talk a little bit about that. Like, how are like maybe some people not getting traction at all despite their hard work and, you know, maybe creativity too, and some do?
I mean, it does come down to like, are you creating something that somebody is interested in? Yeah. Like I'm not trying to shit on the Minecrafters. Like there's Minecraft kids who are a million times more successful than I am. Mm-hmm. But like, unless you create something that somebody wants to watch, like, and you present it in a way that somebody would be interested in watching it, you're gonna have a rough time. Like, say, yeah, my example of like the Minecraft like video of where I'm just doing a 2-hour tutorial, and it's called like part 17 exploring this, and it's like, that's not giving anybody, even even a person who's interested in Minecraft content, like, it's not giving them any kind of like, okay, why should I care about what this guy is like? Oh, he's gonna go fight the Ender Dragon. Like, everyone's already done that. Like, I've seen like 18,000 videos of it, like even better than this guy. Mm-hmm. And like, it's trying to give somebody a reason to say like, oh shit, I that video, I gotta see that video. Like, oh man, like this dude's going up against like 100 Ender Dragons. Like, oh, I gotta see that one. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the type of content that like it's got to give somebody like that feeling of missing out if they scroll past your video. Yes.
Fear of missing out. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because yeah, there is evidence of like people like not making it despite, you know, their hard work, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's what the things that make it are really what keeps them interested and, you know, being unique and original, you know, and also if you've done a video that someone already has done in the past, then why should people watch that video? Right. So it's so hard because, yeah, YouTube is there's so many different ways on how people create content. There's unlimited ways. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, it is a platform where people watch, you know, interesting stuff, whether it's, you know, short form or medium form or longer form, etc. People nowadays are actually like leaning more into shorter form just because of the attention spans, I guess I'm guilty of that. But I wanted to touch base on that also because, you know, the length can vary from time to time, you know, whether it's reviews, whether it's like, you know, a tutorial, whether it's like whatever video the case may be. Like, what do you think the impact is on like length, right? Like length of the video, whether it's like 30 seconds, a minute, or even like 20 minutes to an hour. Like, what do you see the differences between those?
It's as long as you can keep somebody interested. Like, as soon as like you lose somebody's attention and ends like they're just going over, clicking to the other tab just to scroll through their Instagram, like, you're kind of losing them. And like, if you're posting like, yeah, my 2-hour Minecraft tutorial video, and if like you're just kind of like for like a whole like minute or so, like nothing's really happening, you're just kind of walking around, no commentary, no nothing, people are going to start clicking away. People are going to get bored. People are going to, you know, that's going to show that like in the YouTube algorithm, it's going to show like on the analytics page, on the analytics page, it's going to show that like you've kept that person in for like your video's 2 hours long. They skipped away at like the 5-minute mark. You only kept them there for 6% of your video. But like that's showing that, you know, you can only keep them there for that long. But if you have like, you know, like I said with ContraPoints, she makes videos that are like, yeah, once every 2 months, but they're like an hour long. But you're going to watch that entire hour because of what she's saying, because everything is just so goddamn interesting. You're not going to click away. You're not going to go to some other channel. So like, she's going to get all like million of her viewers for that video are going to watch for that entire hour. And the advertiser is just going to love that because it's like, oh, we can put ads in every 8 minutes. Awesome.
Make that money. But I definitely agree with you is, you know, I don't think the length matters at all. I guess it depends on the genre, the niche of and the theme of the video. If it's like you said, if it's like a 1 hour or 2 hours, but I'm always invested in the project, in the video, then I'm gonna watch the whole thing, you know. But if I'm gonna, you know, watch like a 2-hour video, maybe not Minecraft, maybe something else, and I'm just gonna like skip, you know, through it because, you know, I'm waiting for something interesting to pop up, then it won't be as effective for me as opposed to like, you know, maybe a shorter form, and there's like, oh, cool, great clip. Next, you know, great clip next. So
if you make boring content, make it shorter.
Make it shorter. There you go.
Yeah, like even with like the shorts, like I've seen some like really good shorts where people condense like just all of this information into like just the 30 seconds, and it's like that works. That's effective storytelling within 30 seconds. And like, yeah, you don't need like, you know, the like and then Oppenheimer length film just to grab somebody's attention. If like you can get like, yeah, think about it this way. You can either make like Oppenheimer where it's like 3 hours of just pure like attention grabbing. Is that iPhone?
That's the hurricane
earthquake
warning.
nearby.
Oh, okay. Viewers listening, there's an earthquake nearby.
Earthquake. There's an earthquake and a hurricane. Somehow I saw this happening.
There you go. That's the content we need right now.
Literally feeling the earthquake going on right now.
Wait, hold on.
In the middle.
Because you're 20 minutes away from me, so I'm gonna wait till I feel it. Oh, I'm getting it too. All right, hold on. Are you still feeling it?
Yeah.
Really? Wait, it hasn't.
In the middle of a hurricane.
It definitely hasn't hit me yet. Hold on, I'm waiting for it. Viewers, hold on. Nothing for me. Maybe it's just in your area. I don't know.
An earthquake in the middle of a hurricane. Come on, guys. Whoever's playing The Sim City right now, turn off the difficulty setting.
Turn it up. And this is what I mean by, you know, being engaged. Like, oh wow, I'm so invested in it now. There you go.
Exactly. You gotta, you have to build up that suspense. Yeah.
No, nothing. I don't feel it, but I'll let you know if I do, and we'll keep that in the podcast. But I definitely wanted to touch base now on this other topic that I wanted to talk about because it's been present, I guess, in multiple industries, which is artificial intelligence, right? And the rise of AI has been, I guess, changing the landscape of content creation too, whether it's like, you know, bots like word bots or like, you know, bots that create actual images, etc. There's so many things out there that are out now to the public. So I guess my question is like, how do you see AI affecting the creative industry, whether it's positive or negative?
Yeah, just to, you know, like just cut it off at the spear, like cut off at the head. Like AI is a tool. Like it's not an all-encompassing, like just like gonna take over everything. It's just a hammer. It's not, you know, the entire team like of like the people building like the Empire State Building. It's just a hammer. Mm-hmm. Where you can create like, so I mean, AI is used in all sorts of things, like all over the place that everybody uses, like without even noticing, like with your cell phone, whenever you're texting and you'll see like the predictive text that pops up, like, oh, I guess I was going to say, you know, I am sorry, I am ducking late. And like, yeah, that's AI. Like whenever you're like going through Photoshop and like you just use the content aware fill, that's AI. Like it's just a tool. However, the problem comes as soon as like people start like not understanding that it's just a tool and start thinking that it can be the replacement. Mm-hmm. So we see this like all over the place with like, we're seeing it with like AI, or we're seeing AI created images. But yeah, we can start seeing this all over the place with where with AI generated images, like sure, they're neat, they're nice, they're pretty. Mm-hmm. Like, and there's even one that won an award in like a local art fair, like, but nobody knows like like yeah, like I know where it was, but like most people don't even know where like which part of Oregon like that like state fair was in that where that AI generated image won, or was it even Oregon?
Ooh.
You tell me, viewers. Yeah, and like with that, like it's nice, it's pretty, but it's not really gonna take away from an actual artist perspective, because like if you look at the way that with DALL-E 2, like the way that you create an image, like you write in a prompt, you create it, you hit enter, and like sure, that's still your mind coming up with something to put into that and to type it in. Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, it's still a tool that somebody was creating, like, or somebody used to help create something.
To help create.
And in that same aspect of like, it's somebody who can't really draw too well is using that instead of instead of a paintbrush. And to that end, I've not really like too upset about it. Like, and that side of it, like if it's just somebody who just sucks at drawing and like is using like DALL-E 2 to create something that looks pretty just to have fun, just to like their way of trying to express something, okay, fine, no problem. The problem starts coming in as soon as it's the problem starts coming in as soon as people start using it as like, oh, we can use this without having to actually pay an artist. Oh, cool. Like I'm no longer going to have to pay like anybody to paint anything if I've got DALL-E 2. Like, no, like even still, you always have to have somebody who's like coming up with the idea to put into the prompt. And which also starts coming into some of the other problems that you start seeing with like ChatGPT, where somebody just asks ChatGPT like, hey, give me a good prompt to put into DALL-E 2. And it's like, even then, like you're having ChatGPT create something that, you know, DALL-E 2 is creating, and then like you can put into other AI software to like, you know, try to like put motion into it. Mm-hmm. And it's like at that point you're making a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, and it's just gonna look bad. Like there's no heart and soul into it. Like think about it this way, like anything can be art. Like, I'm not here to gatekeep any kind of art. Like, if you're trying to create, like, something on DALL-E 2, whatever. But also at the same time, I'm not shitting on, like, somebody who, like, creates the next Mona Lisa. Like, obviously, no questions asked, that is a piece of art. But then at the same time, I would also say, like, a 5-year-old kid who drew something that's now sitting on their parents' fridge, that is art. Because somebody like from the bottom of their soul decided to create something, and they're trying to tell the viewer, the audience, the whoever, something with that piece of work. So that is art. From, you know, the Mona Lisa to the 5-year-old kid on the like drawing on the fridge. Like those are art. Like somebody who like can't draw worth shit, like is like creating something on DALL-E. Okay, I'll take it as art because that's somebody trying to create something just without, you know, the tools. Well, without the talent, so they're using tools.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But when it gets to the point where, like, you're trying to pull away all of that artistry from it, where you're trying to pull away from all kind of, like, actual thoughts, and, like, you're not creating anything that's thought-provoking. You're just creating something. Here's where we start running into the issue where we see the monetization of art. Like, this is the ever-present struggle with, like, artists. Like, you want, like, I would love to create, like, you know, I would love for somebody to give me $10 million to go create a feature-length film tomorrow. That would be amazing. But I also get the fact that I don't think anybody would trust me with $10 million because they need to get their return on that investment of $10 million back. Like, sure, like, it might, like, I might make an amazing horror film about, you know, whatever. I'm not giving you guys my free ideas for nothing. Yeah, like I can create something and like it can make the money back. It could also not, which is the biggest problem because like not every film is going to make it. Not every YouTube channel is going to make it. Not every script is going to make it. That's just the way the world works. It'd be amazing. Doesn't happen. Like it's rough. And there's always like the trying to create something, to always try to make something, always trying to get out there, create. But at the end of the day, like there's still always going to be people to try to monetize it. Now I'm back in the train of thought. Sorry, I was losing my train. I'm back.
No, absolutely. You were actually answering some of the questions that I already had, but I want to unpack some of that because it's a lot of insight for sure that are so valuable. Because you mentioned that AI is definitely like a useful tool, and I see it as in a way because it's very fast and it's very accurate, like compared to humans. I would say humans will always have calculation errors and stuff like that. But if you design, the robot to not make a calculation error, it will always do the same thing over and over again, which is, why whenever I play chess here and there and I'm against an AI, I will always lose, and every human in this world will always lose. But, in the entertainment industry, though, there's always this, debate whether, it should be there or not, because where's the human side of the AI, right? Are we just going to look at the AI and be like, oh, it made something that I guess sparked our emotions, stuff like that. But when people find out, oh, it was made by a robot, like how do people feel now? Because there's so many different ways to go about it. But I wanted to ask this question too, because you mentioned about replacement, right? AI. Yeah. Is it a replacement or not, right? But could you discuss the implications, the potential implications of AI generated content when it comes to employment, especially in the entertainment field, because it's been present, slowly becoming more present?
Yeah, like there is the rise in AI, and like if you look at where AI was like last year, like it couldn't even do fingers right. Like everything always had like 8 fingers and it was all jumbled and all that. But they got past that finger thing and things are improving vastly. Like to the point where like, some kid on Twitter like tried to recreate like a Scooby-Doo episode and they used AI voices. Like they used AI generated voices that I guess kind of sounded like, all of the characters.
Yeah.
And like everyone dunked on this kid, despite the fact that, they were like a 16-year-old kid. And it's like, hey, they don't have the money to go out there and afford like actual voice actors. Like, I mean, kid got dunked on. And if they didn't, like if they just kind of accepted, the frog in the pot of boiling water, like where it's like, okay, no, like this kid can get away with it. It's like, it's fine. Oh, the small indie company can get away with it. It's fine. Oh, Disney's doing it. It's fine. Like there's going to be a point where you can just create like entire background actors, which is, kind of been a thing that's been going on for a while now, which I have my own opinions on why background acting should not be, AI generated. Because, you're eventually going to see all those same faces and it's going to take more work just to like alter a person in like VFX as opposed to just, I don't know, paying somebody $100 a day just to go sit like in the background. Like, you're spending more money like trying to alter all of like the AI generated work than it would just to pay somebody $100.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's also a problem that the WGA and like all the SAG-AFTRA strikes are like worried about, like trying to get fair pay and fair representation, fair wages for fair work. But at the same time, right now it's significantly cheaper and more cost effective to just like hire a writer just to create like an actual script. Like, I mean, writers work on like spec all the time. Spec, by the way, is where you like to the audience, is where you'll write an entire script, like all like 90 to like 120 pages of it. You create the entire script and then you spend like a year of your life writing it, just hoping that somebody might buy it. And like not every time where like, unless you're a famous writer, where you're going to have like this already or people are going to pay you to actually just sit down and write. No, you have to already have that already created. Like, and like there's tons of writers out there who will already have like 18 screenplays ready to go.
Boom. Yeah.
And like writers out there have the work that's already created. Writers out there want to create that work. Writers out there have the put their heart and soul into the story of like, you know, I'm going to pull this apart because I see this a dumb trend. Well, I'm not going to say dumb, sorry. Like I see this all the time with like horror films where like you'll have like the writer like create like a depression monster is actually the symbol, like the symbolism of like depression is actually like like embedded in the monster. And it's like it's kind of overdone and a bit cliche at this point, but like at least like there's plenty of those stories out there where if you try to create like an AI generated script to like tell a horror story, it's not going to get the nuance. Like, sure, like look at the Babadook. Yeah, the depression monster. And like it's all this symbolism, all this meaning is hidden deep within like everything of it. Is the Babadook that great of a film? You decide. I like it. It's a bit campy, but you know, I also like campy horror films. An AI generated content or an AI generated script could not create intentional camp. You know, it doesn't get the nuance because like it's a program, it's an AI, it's just a bunch of lines of code just trying to come up with something, and it can only tell what was like given from the prompt and what was given from like the line that came before it. It's not thinking of like what came like 18 lines before it. It's just thinking of what it just wrote. Yeah. So it's not going to get the nuance of like, say, The Great Gatsby. Like to anyone who's read like the book, the film, or the book and the film is like filled with all of this nuance and all of this like, but what does the green light at the end of at the other side of the lake actually mean? And as it turns out, spoiler alert, the green light means nothing. Like, could an AI like really think of like to write something like that? No, because it's always thinking of just what's on the surface level of something. Like it has like all the time, like with like, well, yeah, with writers, we call it subtext, like what's being said without being said. Without being said, yeah. And in essence, it's how we lie to everybody. Like, how do we say like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally okay. The Babadook monster isn't totally following me around everywhere. And like with that, like an AI generated script would just say like, oh yeah, I am fine. It's okay. And it's like, it wouldn't like have the layers deep enough to think like, oh yeah, no, this person's actually lying to another person, because it just doesn't understand humans like that. The AI is starting to, you know, it's getting better, but it's not at that point yet. And I don't think it will ever get to the point where it can actually truly like replace human emotion. It can copy human emotions. Like I can have it like read like the script to the Babadook a million times over, but it's never going to get it. Yeah, like for sure. And that's just, you know, a campy horror film. And not even getting to the point of like, can it recreate The Great Gatsby? Bam. There you go. And yeah, thank you for pointing all those out, because AI has really been, you know, a big factor on many different industries, especially now. But I would say that you mentioned that AI is continuously like improving and stuff like that. I personally think that we haven't seen anything yet, right? Yeah. You know, maybe, you know, I don't know exactly when the start of AI was up until now, but I think that because it's constantly evolving so fast, the fact that we have so many technologies now that are very, I guess, responsive and very quick, right? Where is it going to look now in like 15, 20 years, 50, 100 years from now, right? Because it's ever evolving. So I guess I wanted to ask that question too, in terms of, I guess, the entertainment field, the content creation field, like where do we go from here? And where do you see this going, right? Where do you see the future of AI going, I guess, in the near or distant future? I can see more reliance on AI coming down the road. People are going to like it. You're going to see a lot more like with the intro to Secret Invasion on Disney Plus, how like they use the AI generated art and like they said like, oh, but it's to invoke the feeling that, you know, something is off, because it was like, but we still also have like AI, like the visual effects artists who are already very much overworked, and like they took a shortcut. Am I gonna like shit on them for that? No. And like they got what they wanted. Like they wanted to invoke the feeling of something being off, and that worked for the intro to Secret Invasion. But when it's like later on, if that's not the intention, if that's not the stated goal of it, it is going to feel off. So I see in the near future, they're going to try to use it just to test the waters. They're going to go with something very low budget, very low effort. Honestly, I see them they're going to probably start it off with like something that is very low cost, but high return on investment. They're going to start doing this with horror films first. They're going to start doing it with horror content because you can feel like, oh, something's always going to be off. And it's like, oh, yeah, because an AI created it. We're going to probably see like comic books. My love of comic books. Like, we can already just use ChatGPT and DALL-E 2. Technically, we can have like the image and the words to create a comic book.
Boom.
Is it going to be a good comic book? No.
I don't know. We'll see.
Like there, I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, somebody did create a comic book using AI, but it took a lot of prompts, and at that point, like, it was just a tool because the person just couldn't draw.
Couldn't draw. And wow. Definitely a lot of insight from that, because there is a lot of, I guess, criticism from, people who think that AI, can basically replace humans when it comes to like creativity, when it comes to art, when it comes to maybe. Yeah, exactly. So for people who think that way, who think like so many negative things about, artificial intelligence, I guess what would be the message to those people?
It's gonna be fine. Like, nothing's like, we can like sound all the alarms we want right now. We can freak out, like, yes. And dumb executives are also just idiots as well, and they're gonna look at this and say like, oh, cool, I can like create, like, I can have a chat GPT like write me an entire script. Why am I paying like a writer to do this when I can do this for free? But like, that's gonna like fly over real fast as soon as, one, the unions get what they deserve, and two, they realize the heart of the content is not there. Like, if it's completely AI generated, like look at all those videos of like what if Wes Anderson created the X-Men? What if Wes Anderson made Lord of the Rings? Kind of looks like a Wes Anderson film, but not really. It's not. Like, all it is just like, oh, look, it's Bill Murray as Gandalf, just extremely center of the frame, just nodding. And it's like, that's not a Wes Anderson film. Like, Wes Anderson films are just like, yeah, sure, he has a lot of shots where it's like the characters are directly center on frame, but there's no dolly movements, like where long tracking shots. There's no explorations of the characters. It's just, yeah, sure, that kind of looks like a Wes Anderson film, like, but it's not. Like, that's the ultimate end of like where AI is going to go. Like, you can't do that much because it cannot replace the heart and the creativity.
Yes, thank you.
Like, it'll never replace like true art. And I'm talking about like even down to like, that 5-year-old like kid who drew something up for the fridge. Like, there is heart to that. There's no heart in like the Wes Anderson creates the Lord of the Rings video.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. And I totally agree when it comes to heart. I think it's all about the heart and spirit, because AI will always be, around, yes, for near foreseeable future. But at the same time, for me, I think what's important, for sure. But, I think what's important is really what comes out of human touch, human spirit, the human soul. So it's definitely a huge topic, and I can't believe we're almost at time for that because obviously, yeah, it's a huge topic. So thank you, Eric, for sharing all those insights.
Of course.
And would love to chat more about that with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going away. It's been here a lot longer than people think, and honestly, it's kind of bad. Like if you're like, you can use it as a tool all you want. You can use like, you know, the content to wear fill on Photoshop. Like as long as it's just a hammer, it's just a hammer.
It's just a hammer. Like
it can't replace actual talent.
There you go. Absolutely. And as you may know, this podcast is also about giving advice to the viewers and listeners out there who want to learn more from their guests or from our guests as well. So my first question would be about, I guess, content creation. So what advice would you give to someone who's considering starting their own YouTube channel, you know, from scratch, from like 0 subscribers?
Yeah. Just do it. Like you may not think that you're ready. You may not think that like, oh, I need to have like the best camera. I need to have like the best scripts. I need to have the best audio. I need to have the best everything. I need to like build up all of this just so my first video can be this big statement piece. Nobody's going to watch your big statement piece. You're probably going to get like maybe like whatever amount of friends you can get on like Instagram to like watch your video. Like it's not going to do as well as you think it's going to do. It's not like, it can be a great statement piece to show, like, you can show the world you're ready, but you can, like, you're just going to hold yourself back from creating because your first video is going to be bad. Your second video is going to be bad, but as long as it's slightly better, it's fine. Like, just get out there, get creating. And, like, there's also, like, all this, the paralysis of analytics, where you'll just keep like scrolling through, like you'll just be clicking on the dashboard and just like keep refreshing it, being like, oh no, how's my video doing? What's I just got another view. I just got another subscriber. Why don't people watch that? You can get stuck like that for days. Just keep hitting F5 on your analytics page.
Yeah.
Honestly, until you hit your first 50 videos, it's a nice thing to look at, but don't like you can use it to like try to be like, oh, so this type works, oh, this type doesn't. But unless you've got like your 50 videos down, like don't get too bogged down into it. Like you can look at it, use it as a guide, and just kind of like use it for self-esteem if you're saying like, oh yeah, this video did good. But other than that, like just create. Like it doesn't matter what your niche is. Like if say you make like how-to videos on like pottery, like there's an audience out there, I assure you, for like somebody wanting to watch how to make a potted plant or something. Like that audience is out there. You just need to go out there and create. Like there's always going to be like the more like busy niches, like, you know, the Minecraft videos, the drama channels. Like unless you know how to stick out in that, or actually better yet, like unless you know how to stick out in that, or you know how to like, you are the product. Like if you're just making a video on like Minecraft's the product, but why does somebody care about you and your video? Always focus on your performance over everything else, like because that's what you have. Like there's 8 billion people in this world and only one of you. Tell your perspective, tell what you want to do. Your audience is out there. Your niche is out there. So just create.
Just do it.
Who cares? Your first video is going to be bad anyways. Just do it. Like go through and this is a little homework for everyone in the audience. Go to your favorite YouTuber, go to their channel, go to their videos, sort by oldest and watch their very first video. It's crap. Like it's going to be like some of the like, it's them reacting to like Five Nights at Freddy's or something. And like they've got like maybe like 200 views on that. But then if you go to their most popular, now they're up in the millions. Now they're like massively successful because they figured out who they are.
Yes.
That's what you got to do. Figure out who you are, figure out what you want to tell the world. If, say, you have a soapbox, you can stand on this soapbox, look at every single human being on this planet and say one thing. What is that one thing you're trying to tell the world? That's what you can do. That's what your channel is.
Yes, just do it. And wow, that was such an amazing message to the audience. And I also got to say, that's a good idea, actually, to look into those YouTubers, like where they started in the past, right? What kind of videos did they begin with, and how many, and also like recognize their growth from like start to finish, from their beginning until now, right? Because you kind of see their progression. They're like, oh, they started from here like 15 years ago, and now they're creating this amazing, set of videos, etc. It's crazy. Yeah. But I think you mentioned about just doing it. That's what they did, I think, is that they basically did it. They became themselves, or they're just showing who they are, and then they're showing it to the world. And I also think that, just by doing it, you're also, I guess, learning a bunch of new set of skills, right? A bunch of set of skills, whether it's technical, whether it's emotional, whether it's like public speaking, whether it's like, whatever the case may be. There's so many things to learn from just by doing things, whatever industry you're in. But in content creation, there's so many things to learn, I guess, if that's the field you're getting into. So definitely thank you for sharing that. But you also mentioned about the niche as well, because with so many content creators out there, I wanted to ask, like, how do you even find your niche and stand out from the crowd? Because there are tendencies where it's like, maybe you're hesitating because maybe stuff that you're about to do has been already done by someone else in that niche. So I guess how do you find?
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that is completely fine. Like like in my niche of comic books, like every single person who talks about comic books has talked about, like, that time that Captain America was a werewolf. Like, that's kind of like a rite of passage for like every single comic book YouTuber. And like, yeah, it's, what is your spin? How are you going to bring it up? How are you going to do something about that? Like, what do you have to say about it? So like, what is your perspective? Like, and even say like, I've had videos where like I talked about like the multiverse in the MCU, like, and what's the problems with it and how they can fix it. I dropped that at the exact same second because I had it like programmed to, or I had it scheduled to release at 10 a.m. on a Sunday, the exact same moment that Matt Pat had a film theory video about the multiverse in the MCU, and it's like, well, there's my 300 views on that. Okay. And it's like, you take it on the chin and you move on. Like, you've got to, like, it's, what I have to say is like completely different from what like Matt Pat has to say. Like, it's finding what you have to say, what you want to tell the world, what's something that interests you enough to like talk about it forever. Because like, if you set any human being down in a room and just like have them like give a lecture to talk about something that they're never going to get bored about, like, what is that thing? Like, that is your niche. Like, if you can talk about, like, I don't know, like Hot Wheels cars forever, like, cool, you just found your niche on YouTube.
There you go. I love that. Totally love that, because
mine is comics.
Comics, exactly. But yeah, even though people are in the same niche and the content creators are basically sort of doing the same things, right? But it's not necessarily that way, because you are your voice and you are unique, and just bring out your perspective too to the world. And I love that you mentioned that. And I guess my last question, I guess, relates to also, like you mentioned about analytics and viewers and stuff like that. What are, I guess, strategies in building videos or content, stuff like that, to keep people engaged? Because even though there are times when, for example, you make a video that's very amazing, right? But for some reason, people tend to, I guess, not view it or not engage, maybe whatever the reason may be, whether it's like the thumbnail or like, the title, whatever it is. But then the content out there is actually pretty solid. So how can, I guess, people create content that's very engaging?
Yeah, honestly, My best advice is something that I kind of figured out is to always write out a script. Like if you're creating something, always have like at least a general outline, unless like me, I fully script out everything. I have it all all nicely typed up. I have a nice little teleprompter app that I use, and like I write it on like a Monday or Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I'll reread the entire thing. And if it's like, oh, this is kind of boring, I kind of lost people. Like I lost my own attention around here. And if you lose your own attention, you're going to lose the audience's attention.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And Eric the Mage, thank you so much for being a guest in this podcast. I want to give the platform to you, give any sort of shout out. Like where can people find you in YouTube, media, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I'm Eric, the Mage. You'll see a nice little picture of my cat. Follow me on Twitter, X, whatever people want to call it. At Eric Milzarski. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Yeah. This has been such an amazing conversation with you regarding various topics. Yes. And I can't wait for the listeners. And thank you for watching. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.